If parents are lucky, they get to save for a wedding or for college, but nobody saves for a funeral.
Tonight on DC News Now, a community in mourning after a teen is swept away in last week's floodwaters. How neighbors in Carroll County are honoring the young life lost too soon. And a Montgomery County mother re-indicted on murder charges more than a decade after her 2 children went missing. The latest on a case that's gripped the community for years now. Plus, it's a big welcome home to the Washington Commanders as D.C. Council approves a historic deal bringing the team back to the district. But not everyone is cheering. Scott?
But we are cheering for the nice weather to continue here in the DMV. We'll talk about your Monday forecast. That's coming up on the other side of the break.
And we are stretching your dollar with a new challenge aimed at stopping your spending. The craze around the No Spend Challenge coming up.
You're watching the station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Thanks so much for joining us for DC News Now at 9. I'm Marielle Carbone. Ben Dennis has the night off. Well, breaking news for a case we've been covering for more than a decade. A Maryland mother accused of murdering her 2 children was arrested after being discharged from the hospital. Catherine Hoggle is accused of murdering her 2 children, Sarah and Jacob, after they disappeared back in September 2014. Now, over the years, Hoggle has faced several charges, including 2 counts of murder, but they were dropped after she was ruled incompetent to stand trial. She has been committed at the Clifton T. Perkins Hospital, but on Friday, Hoggle was arrested after the state became aware that she was discharged from that hospital on July 23rd. She's expected for a bond review hearing tomorrow. And more tears around Mount Airy, Maryland tonight as family and friends gather to remember a young life taken away too soon. 13-year-old Mason Kearns died last week when floodwaters swept him into a drainage pipe. A candlelight vigil wrapped up a short time ago, and DC's News Now's Dave LaValle attended that tribute. Organizers set up a candlelight vigil at Watkins Park near the skate park as Mason was an avid skateboarder. He died when floodwaters swept him into a drainage pipe Thursday behind the Watersville apartments. The area received at least 4 inches of rain. Mason attended classes at Mount Airy Middle School. His family says that they hope that everyone remembers how great he was.
I want to remember that he was a good kid who could have made a lot of good in the world, and he's gone way too soon, way too soon.
The family says they are thankful the community was able to come together to honor his memory and support him. Mount Airy police have not said if they've wrapped up their investigation into Mason's death. And today, a family that was rescued from floodwaters on Thursday met with the crew members of Montgomery County's fire department. Montgomery County crews rescued 6 people. One of those rescues involved 2 children. The fire officials say an 8-year-old was found standing on the roof of a submerged car, while a woman and a 2-year-old were trapped inside the Bradley Boulevard and Mercy Hollow area. Now, thankfully, everyone was pulled out safely with no injuries, and the family gave thanks to officials for saving them.
It's definitely very emotional thing what they have done. They're courageous, so I have no words. I mean, all I can say from my heart is I keep praying for them, for their family, for the welfare of first responders throughout my life. I mean, that's a promise I can give. And
the family donated money to the station to show their gratitude and say that they hope the department uses it to continue helping others. It has been a much quieter and drier weekend compared to last week. We want to get over to meteorologist Scott Sumner. And Scott, hopefully it will stay that way. I know we're looking out over the Capitol, and it looks like a nice evening so far.
Yeah, absolutely, Marielle. If we were to step outside right now, we'd feel very comfortable. Although there are still some clouds out there. No rain showers, though, are in the forecast, not just overnight, but going into Monday as well. 75 degrees is where our current temperature stands at, but we'll see those temperatures here in the district drop about another 10 degrees or so, bottom out around the middle 60s between 5 and 7 a.m. and then start to turn the corner and get up to around that middle and upper 80 mark around 3 to 4, maybe even as late as 5 o'clock in the afternoon, although daytime highs are now peaking at around that 3-4 o'clock time frame. So that's what we have here in the district. Overnight lows elsewhere will be cooler than that 64, 65 degrees I just showed you. We'll be looking at 50s like at Leesburg and Winchester, Culpeper, Frederick, Westminster, Hagerstown, and going all the way out towards the mountains. So a refreshing night. It'll also be dry. It'll be dry tomorrow, it'll be dry on Tuesday, but we have a chance of some showers building in here as we get towards the middle and tail end of the work week. The humidity will start to come up just a little bit. As the headlines show, we've got tons of sun on Monday, more clouds but dry Tuesday, and at least there's no extreme heat and humidity in the near future. Marielle?
Scott, thank you. New tonight, an investigation is underway after a man was stabbed at the Lake Forest Transit Center in Gaithersburg Saturday night. Police say it happened at the Transit Center at Lost Knife Road around 7:30. There they found a man who had been stabbed and rushed him to the hospital in serious condition. As of this morning, there's no suspect information or any word on that man's condition. And a man is in the hospital after a shooting overnight in Northwest D.C. Police say the shooting happened on S Street in the areas between DuPont Circle and Logan Circle around 1:30 a.m. The man was found conscious and breathing. He was taken to the hospital for treatment. And the three men responsible and involved in the deaths of a former Fairfax County couple have learned their punishment. Ralph Hendry and his wife, Kathy Brendel, vanished in February of 2024 while sailing on their catamaran in the Caribbean. Now, their bodies have never been found. Grenada's High Court sentenced Ron Mitchell, that's the bottom right, to 2 life sentences under a plea deal. He must serve at least 50 years in prison before he's eligible for parole. A second defendant received a 30-year sentence, while the third, 5 years. Prosecutors say they killed the couple after they boarded their boat in St. George after escaping police custody. And a new job posting in Fairfax County is sparking some criticism, with the superintendent of the public school district looking to hire her own security detail. A listing on the district's website has an opening for a bodyguard for Dr. Michelle Reed. That person will be responsible for protecting her pretty much at all times. The position pays between $84,000 and nearly $144,000 a year. This Tuesday, it's the last day to apply. The school district has not replied to a request for comment on that job opening. And could your next ride be without a driver? The D.C. Council is considering a bill to determine if the district will allow driverless cars. D.C. News Now's Ben Dennis is diving into what this means for commuters and how people feel about what would be a noticeable difference on the roadways.
Imagine sometime down the road you're able to order a ride share. Once the car comes up, you do the routine. Get inside the back seat. Although once you look up front, there's nobody behind the wheel. Well, there's a bill now introduced in D.C. City Council to allow autonomous self-driving vehicles in the district, and one company has been testing this for 2 years. In a town full of planes, trains, and automobiles, the next car you hail to haul you to work or happy hour may have no driver in the front seat.
If I may put some friends in the front seat as well, you know.
I feel like a sign of the future, but I feel like a sign of the future, they start small and then it gets big, so I don't know.
Is that scary?
A little bit, yeah.
A new bill introduced to City Council by at-large member Kenyon McDuffie would greenlight fully autonomous vehicles on public roads.
Test them like in sites where maybe there's not a lot of people first, with like objects that look like people or animals or things that could get hit.
The move would allow self-driving company Waymo to offer driverless rides. They've been testing them with specialists in the driver's seat, ready to make corrections if needed since 2024.
If I get access to a bunch of studies that prove that they are just as, if not more, safe than cars with drivers, then I'll be okay with them being green-lighted.
Among cities who've okayed Waymo's tech, reportedly LA, Phoenix, San Francisco, Atlanta, and Austin. The bill says those approved to operate automated vehicles must pass certain permitting and be fully compliant with traffic laws. Plus, humans cannot be restricted from the ability to take over the controls and operate the vehicle.
I don't trust it. I want to have a person behind the wheel.
And because this bill was introduced late into D.C. City Council session for at least this part of the year, it might not be brought up for consideration and debate until mid-September. Meantime, Waymo tells me they're still hoping that they can launch their autonomous vehicles in 2026. In Northwest, Ben Dennis, back to you.
We're bringing that back again. We want that feeling and we want that location. It ties the city together and it's going to be incredible.
Well, the Commanders are now just steps away from a return to Washington, D.C. The D.C. Council voting Friday to bring the team back home after weeks of negotiations and pressure from Capitol Hill. The $4 billion deal includes a new stadium, housing, retail, parking, green space, and more. It also includes a labor agreement with local unions for work doing construction and running the stadium after. Still, not all council members are on board with this. At-large member Robert White pushing for stronger penalties if the team does not meet its development deadlines. An amendment he proposed on the issue failed Friday.
Sure, we don't end up with just the stadium and not the housing and the grocery store that people are counting on. And if that's not enforceable, it may not happen.
The second and final vote on that massive deal is scheduled for September 17th. And towns across the DMV, they are getting ready for National Night Out. It is an evening that brings police and the community together. In Maryland, the Montgomery County Assistant Police Chief sharing why the August 5th event is so important.
When residents know their neighbors and know the officers who serve them, it leads to better communication, quicker problem solving, and stronger communities overall.
The Montgomery County Police plan to host 24 events across its 6 districts. Well, coming up, we are helping you stretch your dollar and save some money. How to get started with the No Spend Challenge so you can sock away some cash. The time is now 9:11 as we take a live look outside over the National Cathedral on this Sunday evening. Scott Sumner will have your full forecast after this quick break, so stay with us.